Counted 20 some odd children in this compound. And then we had to get in. So what's going on in there? So when we drive up to this place and they've painted on the wall, Happy Day Orphanage. Well, there's no registered orphanage in Haiti called that. What are they doing? Well, we know what they're doing. People do this. They throw up a sign that says orphanage. Innocent people are taking children. Oh, we'll take them here. And so the Haitian government volunteered me to go undercover and just walk into this place. It was probably the most emotional moment I had had in my career at that point. Because I walk in, I see these kids, and there's 28 children. The youngest is 1. The oldest is like 13. And they're just miserable. At this point, I have to pick a child to buy in a sting operation. And I'm looking around as I'm looking for this kid. Who am I going to buy? And this beautiful little boy, he's about 2 years old. He basically picks me. And he walks up to me, and I just hold this little boy in my arms. And I said, okay, he's the one I'm gonna buy. I take him in my arms and I walk into some of the outbuildings while my colleague is keeping the traffickers occupied. And as I'm walking into this dark outbuilding, I hear the footsteps of another child who's following me. And I swing around, and there's this 3-year-old girl. And she's looking at me, and she's looking at him, and I want to kind of get her out of the way. I don't want to create, a lot of attention around what I'm doing. We find out later, and I could tell in the moment, all of them are on the verge of starvation. And I give this little girl a candy bar. She's probably never seen a candy bar. And I said, take this outside, you can eat it outside. This little girl did something I'd never seen any child do. She took the candy bar, she broke it in half, almost like muscle memory, not even thinking, without taking her eyes off the little boy in my arms, breaks that candy bar in half and hands the other half to the little boy. And I just knew, God told me in that moment.
They're related.
They're brother and sister.
Wow.
All they have is each other. That's it. And what have I done? And so I broke the cardinal rule of undercover operators in that moment. This first and last time I ever did it. I knelt down, I put the little boy down. Right when I put him down, she grabs him and protects him from me, which was the sweetest thing. This little girl is just my hero. And then I broke this rule by telling them who I was, that I am here to help them and that they need to help me, and just go along with what I'm doing, and we will get you guys out of here. And she knew this girl's brilliant. She's gifted. It went off perfectly. The traffickers got arrested. They liberated the orphanage. But the father, I told you about the father of this little boy who I met, who I made the promise to. I promised him that we would never stop till we found his son. He's waiting in another hotel for the good news. He's waiting for me to walk through the door with his son in my arms. And we all knew that was going to happen. We believed it. About 30 minutes later, they called me with the devastating news that he's not here. We got 28 kids, but we didn't get him. And I had to go back and tell this man what happened. And it was the most difficult and most inspiring conversation I've ever had with a human being. I went back, sat down with him. He was in the lobby of the hotel, and without saying a word, he just breaks down. I break down. We're just sobbing without even exchanging any words, because he knew that I didn't have his son. But we did get 28 kids out. And then he did this most amazing thing. He slaps his hand on the table and he pops his head up, and his tears are drying. I'm still crying. He's not. And he says, stop crying. This is amazing. I said, what's amazing? He said, you just told me we rescued 28 kids. I said, yeah, but I'm worried about the one we didn't get. And he says, no, you're missing it. If Gardy hadn't been kidnapped, none of those kids would have had a chance. His kidnapping led to this. And I thought, wow, I couldn't say what you're saying were roles reversed. And then he said this, the most profound thing anyone's ever said to me. He said, if I have to give up my son so that those 28 kids could be rescued, then that is a burden I'm willing to bear.
Wow. And
we've rescued over 3,000 victims and children since that time. And they're all because of this. Unbelievable. So I go call my wife that night, and I couldn't sleep, and I told her the story. And I said, can you believe this? And I said, I want to be like him, like Gesno Marty, that's his name. And she said, and I got to be careful what I say to my wife, because when she says something, I know it's inspired, especially, when she says it that way. And she did one of those on the phone, and she said, well, let's be like him. I want to be the mother of those 2 children that you bonded with. I want to be their mom. But I knew that she felt it, and we did it. And those kids have been home for 2 years now.
Oh my goodness. That is such an incredible story.